There's a camera in here?
I'm gonna
I saw that. That's what I said. She was
How are you? Your presentation.
You do. It's nice.
About 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
That's
That's what I was football game last night. I was on who was trying to find it. Didn't realize it was on ESPN.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bad. It was so sad because it's like it was the one leg of the parlay I needed. It was the one that didn't hit.
Yeah, I tried going on family with taking Steelers plus 50. I'm still concerned.
How are you?
Let's get her rolling. That's my.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are saying here. Good. How are you doing? Oh yeah.
You
Oh
are?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. She asked me.
Just the courtesy.
Okay.
That's okay. That's
Okay.
okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
make it short.
We got the extra long version.
Fiona, did you do your homework?
Thinking something to
I
read.
didn't have it in there.
No, from me before the holidays. Remember, I wanted to know where I could get that cream.
Yes, actually, I did too. Yes, I can email you the list.
Okay, thank you. And then I'll give it to Dr. Castellano. Nice. So see, you did do your homework. I had you all panicking, but you took care of it.
I was nervous for a second.
Thank you.
Well, then I thought you did something I didn't about like my schoolwork. And I was like,
No? Your personal homework from me.
The fancy card around.
Oh, yeah. That Monday we were off. I told Meg to work. I just ran to deal with my boss.
Really?
It's very conservative.
To be honest, mine app is better than my truck.
How are you?
Good. Like right back, and I just-
What brings you out today, Mr. Valentine? We normally don't get you. Slow down. Thanks, it's good to see
The last
you.
couple of years I was out of town.
I know. Well, it's nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Did you have a good holiday?
How about you?
Better than I deserve, probably. How are the kids?
They're great.
Joel, just went up our bill.
I always say yes. My answer is always yes. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
62. What's gonna take the most time are the presentations to.
I feel good. I feel. How are you feeling?
Look at that smile. He can't take it off of his face.
Ready? Ready?
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah.
I'd like to call the order of the Great Cross House Board meeting. If you want to participate in the opening prayer and the pledge of allegiance, please stand. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think, yeah. Roll call, Debbie.
Mr. Allen,
Here.
Mr. Belsky,
Here.
Mr. Beatty is here, Mr. Jordan.
Here.
Mr. McKevick is here, Mrs. Murray here, Mr. Pence,
Here.
Mr. Rumsberg,
Here.
Ms. Foggy is here, 7 members present, 2 absent.
Oh, yeah. I'm so good at I need a motion to approve the agenda and the amendments, PN 180 and 181.25. Motion by Tony.
Second.
By Randy. Any questions? All in favor?
Mrs. Governor, here needs to explain.
Oh, okay, here it is.
Thank you, sir. I need to explain this. So we have 2 motions that we've added as an addendum. The first one, PN 18025, is the resignation of Dorothy Rogier, paraprofessional at Johnstown Middle School, be accepted effective the end of the workday on January 24th, 2025, and the administration be authorized to announce the vacancy. We'd like to add that because obviously our para positions are needed, and that's why it couldn't wait till February. And then we also had PN 18125 added that the supplemental position of junior high assistant track coach be declared vacant due to Kalia Smothers declining the offer of employment, and the administration be authorized to advertise the vacancy. And again, the timeliness as that season will be here before we know it, and we want to get candidates in. So we have those positions filled. Thank you, Mr. Prince.
Thank you. No. Any questions? All for it? Against? Motion passed. Now, Dr. Akirio, we're gonna go through some presentations.
Yes, we have some really nice presentations here this evening. And I would like to start with the You Matter Art Projects. That is being brought to you this evening by Chris Bachman and Jess Nickel, who are here as representatives from our very own Cambria County Child Development Corporation, which is the vendor company that operates and manages our preschool program. And they had this wonderful event that I know they're going to tell you more about than I know. And they wanted to come here this evening and present to you with this information. So Jess is in the white sweater. She is the lead teacher at our preschool and has been with us since the program started. And Chris Bachman is the executive director of Cambria County Child Development Corporation, and she has been with us for about 6 years now, Chris? 10. Wow. Okay. All right. So thank you, ladies, both for coming, and I know they work hand in hand with Dr. Castiglione to make sure our preschool program runs very well. So thanks, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we brought these paintings. We worked with the Positive Painting Project, which is a nonprofit out of Pittsburgh. Parents, the Lysong family, lost their daughter due to mental health and suicide when she was 15. She was very into art. So they started this organization to promote positive mental health and suicide awareness. So we had all of the programs in our company ranging from 1-year-old to 12 years old do paintings, and they screen print 6 different sayings over it. You matter, it's okay to not be okay, hold up to hope, different things. So our goal is to get these paintings out into the community to promote positive mental health. And so we've got some to give to all of the schools, the administration office, and we also have extras. So if anyone would like any for your business or home, or you know anywhere to spread them, you know, please let us know, and we're happy to give them out.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you're gifting these to us?
Yes.
Wow.
They're gifting to you, what, 15 or 20?
20, yeah. Becky has them in her office for distribution.
So for here, there's some for the high school, so in the middle school, the elementary, so you can take them with you.
Oh, that's
We will leave
awesome.
a few more in Becky's office. If anyone here would like to take one or spread it around, please do so.
I want to change the lobby of our administrative offices because we're, you know, we like to keep it fresh. And so that would be a wonderful opportunity for us to use some of those paintings in our lobby. So families who come in understand, you know, that's one of the big initiatives of our school district is mental health and mental health supports and making sure every single one of our folks know that they matter. So thank you for that. This is such a kind donation.
We also did this at building blocks. So we have some young, very young children that did it too. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Never too early to start that, is that?
We have flyers we can leave here, also the QR code on here, so we take you to the Positive Pain Project website.
So we could host our own project, right?
And we did. They were in the
Yes,
middle
the
school
middle
last
school.
year.
Oh, wow, okay, very nice. Wow,
Trying to help spread the word.
that's awesome, thank you so much. Any questions, comments from the members of the school board?
I work for the United States Army Reserve, and we love them.
Oh, wow, there you go.
Yeah, let me know. I'll take one up to the First Summit Bank. That's where my wife works, and she gets a lot of people through the office there. That'd be
All
fantastic.
right.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we'll grab
I have a few
couple
boxes
and put
in
them
my
there.
car.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, ladies, so much.
Ladies, it would also be nice to have Fiona here. She's our president for our VDM club, and we do all kinds of You Matter things, and I'd like to maybe try to pull positive painting into our VDM group.
Great.
We did invite them to the You Matter, but unfortunately the family's not available.
Okay.
They did say that they would send different things, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Do you want to present these to anyone?
Yeah, we get a photo. All right.
I can take one.
There you go.
Hi,
girl.
You have 5 of them, 5 or 6 of them.
Thank you so much.
Are you gonna do it?
This is wonderful, and look at how much money this person has
It looks good on you, don't you?
It's just her.
All right, thanks, Matt, thank you. Thanks so much. What a kind gesture. Sure, thanks, Jess. All right, honey, Joe, the holiday. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Nice, I'll congratulate you. Absolutely. Thanks so much. All right, not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See ya. Take care.
We start the school year with gifts. That's awesome. All right. We have our JHS student representative next. If you do not know Fiona Stewart, well, you're about to meet her. She is a wonderful young lady who just does so much, and we're so proud of her and all she brings. And the sad story here is that Fiona's a senior. That's the only, that's the disappointing part. We already miss you tremendously. But I understand you are moving into the world of education in your college studies. So we may just have to wait a few years till she comes back to us. All right.
Maybe Pennsylvania gets a little bit warmer. I don't have any fun or cute gifts.
do a great slideshow. Okay.
I mean, there's penguins, so that's a good start.
I know. And once again, I do with a laser. This will be used tonight. So, January board report by yours truly. Forgot I was doing that. Okay. So, we will start with the senior class, which I'm the proud treasurer of. Let's get ready for graduation. We ordered our caps and gowns. We are currently planning a prom theme, which we did decide. It's on the next slide, have no fear. And in January, seniors will begin signing off on their diploma spellings. That's exciting. The prom theme that we selected was Starry Night, the famous Vincent van Gogh painting, but like a little bit more emo and a lot more fairy lights. And our prom will be held Friday, April 25th, 2025 at the Masonic Temple. So it'll be a great day. Of course, I will be there. Next, NHS. I can't even see this. I'm just gonna move up here. So our NHS members lent a hand at this year's Church and Family Christmas, dressed for the occasion. NHS members Aurora Royal, Peyton Berry, I'll get to them, help with the Santa visits, giving out books and presents to little ones. Excited the event. A fun time was held by all who attended. Church and Family Christmas, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, so I'm not going to get too crazy here. Key Club, see Santa?
How about that, Santa?
Yeah, I heard he's great. She's also looking for a job, so hey. So Mr. Distra and Ms. Malloy got a visit from Santa during Church and Family Christmas. Spoiler alert, I'm Santa. I know you guys in the back can't see it. Sorry, you're missing out. Once again, more photos from Church and Family Christmas. We gave out over 100 Christmas presents, and I think that benefited some 50 families or so. It's actually a bigger number than that, but I'm confident in 50. I'm not confident in anything too much higher, so that's really exciting. One of my favorite events we do throughout the school year, students got books. So the terrible explanation, when you go to Church and Family Christmas, you are provided with a hot meal, drink, visit with Santa, small candy cane, a book, a stuffed animal, and you get a Christmas present. It goes by age. You get things like puzzles to baby dolls to board games. So yeah, super fun. Sports news. Jaden Oswalt was the female athlete of the week for JHS swimming. She's an independent swimmer and one of only two Johnstown swimmers, the other being a freshman. She's also the president of the senior class and my best friend. Sports news. The bocce ball team won the St. Francis tournament. This is a big win. Ask Curtis Ducko about it. He'll be happy to share. All-time leading scorer. Congratulations to Dante Tyson for becoming the all-time leading scorer in school history. I promise it's a lot less impressive when you're his cousin, and that's all you hear about. Next, we have the 12 interacts of kindness. This is a mouthful. Buckle in. First act of kindness. For our first interactive kindness, our interact officers wrote Christmas cards for veterans to be shipped for the holidays. Great one. There's my laser. There's the cards. Second act of kindness was helping clean the cafeteria and lunch detention area between lunches. This one's really important. You'd be surprised how many trays are left on the tables. Interact Club, we completed our third interactive kindness early Monday morning. Interact partnered up with the JES Early Act to put together blessing bags. All items for the bags were donated during our hunger and homelessness awareness drive that we did in November. All blessing bags will be distributed to people in need during the winter months. These are things like soap, toothbrushes, things of that nature. Fourth act of kindness was donating to the Johnstown Fire Department. Interact dropped off Gatorades, coffee, and waters to JFD to thank them, for their services. Fifth was donating snacks and nutrition bars to the Johnstown Police Department, as well as having members of JHS and JMS Interact Club attend Rotary's monthly luncheon. Sixth act of kindness, students went to the soup kitchen and served food. I did that in middle school. It was great. I was at the Jello station. Seventh day, students did sticky notes on lockers. Those were cute. They really were. I didn't get one. It was salty. You didn't know whose locker it was. They were just like, there was one beside mine. No, kidding.
Had they known, you would have had so many.
Absolutely. That's what it is. And actually, I don't put anything in my locker other than my yonder now. So on the 8th day, students delivered cookies to the main office, cafeteria, security, and West End ambulance. Donations, our dodgeball tournament raised $500 for Build-A-Chair. Build-A-Chair is a foundation, and I think we can donate 3 chairs to people in Tanzania. So that's a big help. Thanks to the Interact. My team was first out of the dodgeball tournament, in case you're wondering. Pep Club, we were really angry about it. Sorry, I got washed over with anger just thinking about it. Merry Christmas. Pep Club decorated trees for all 4 school buildings. The high school is pretty cute. Pretty sure it's still up, so go check it out. Pep Club also raised a total of $2,108, and we're able to cover 14 students to receive Christmas gifts this holiday season. That's a big one. Everyone deserves to be happy on Christmas. Duh. Skills USA, today's activities. This is interesting here. So at 8 a.m., they did sharing time, 9 a.m., reading activity, 10 a.m., building blocks, 11 a.m., numbers and patterns, 12, lunch, arts and crafts cleanup. Skills USA sends our vocational program kids to compete against other vocational program kids. They wear like red blazers. I wish I could tell you more. Please return your library books by Friday, media center tomorrow. Think about a story you would like to share, write the story. So, band. Band began their indoor percussion ensemble performances, more to come. Their show is called Carved in Stone, and it's medieval, ancient. You know just about as much as I do. Like that. That's what we're going for there. Swibis, our December students of the month were 8th grade, Vanessa Velasquez, 9th, Ava Hoffman, 10th, Parker Cornelius, 11th, Raheem Broswell, and 12th, Emma McAfee. Also a great gal, also my best friend. And that's all. Thank you.
So Fiona, I have a quick question for you. Was that presentation made with Canva?
Yeah.
Okay, so where's my good friend, Mr. Davey? Is he still with us?
He stepped down.
He stepped down. Okay, all right. So, Mr. Scarton, the students at the high school are telling me that they love Canva, but it is not getting through because it's blocked by our wall. So can we ask Ensure to open that for our students, or is there more to that story that we'll talk about later?
I do not know the answer to that.
Okay, thank you so much. So when you go back to the high school tomorrow, you can tell all of the agents of change that I did my job and I brought it up at the board meeting to open Canva.
Well, and I was raising my hand very politely because what I may add is we used to have like the school paid for like a business Canva account where all students had access for it.
Okay.
And so when we log into Canva, it says that we don't belong to like
An account.
union. So
Yeah.
like you'd have to use like I would use my personal account obviously.
Okay.
And so who does the budget? Who's that?
It's expensive.
It can't be that.
Good job. Good job.
Okay, so we can have a conversation, all of that, to see what we potentially could do to open up Canva, because I know a lot of you are using that for presentation, and I appreciate you using your own personal account to bring this to life to us here tonight. And as always, you did a fantastic job. So thanks for you.
Thank you.
And do not forget my email.
I won't. Well, I
Okay.
will, but someone will remind me.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, so our next presentation board, which is not on your agenda, would just be a quick overview regarding yonder pouches that Fiona mentioned in her presentation ever so quickly. Mr. Kashadi, Mr. Riblet, come on up, gentlemen. We'd like you both to just be here this evening. If you have anything you want to share with the school board regarding the implementation of the cell phone pouches, we'd love to hear from you, because the board has heard from me about this, but you are executing the cell phone pouches every single day at your schools. And the members of the school board might even have a couple questions for you following. So, Mr. Kashadi, you want to get us started?
Sure.
All right, thank you, sir.
At the high school, we did implement them, and it went extremely well, to be quite honest about it. I don't know that our expectations were not quite as high, but the first day through, we had Central helped us, Dr. Hero, Mr. Day, and Dr. Castellano. A bunch of people came over, and we were prepared for students maybe having a meltdown, maybe some questions, maybe some problems. Very limited. I think we had 3 kids out of every student that went through that day say that they didn't know that they had a problem. Their parents said, I'm not allowed to do that. So we did call the parents. We got them on board, got those students back involved. So that was nice. So compliance has been a great piece of this. And I don't know if we just weren't expecting that. I think every time you go into a new operation, you think, okay, what do we got here? What's going to be our shortfalls? But compliance was fantastic. Now, the execution of it, again, has been great with the standard that we have right now. Kids are coming in, Jimmy, Zach, they're giving those pouches, boom, they're putting them in, they're coming through the scanners. If we catch a phone on them, we get them into the pouch. That's been pretty good. Tampering with the pouches first day, we had a few. We had about 30, 35 that just kind of put those pencils in. They were Googling it, trying to figure out how to open them. They didn't get them, some of them didn't get them open. Maybe about 5 or so got broken in the mix. So, but right now there's not a tremendous amount of damage. Day 2 was much better with just tampering and trying to get in it. And that's where we're headed next, is how we kind of stop with the tampering part about kids trying to open them up. Because some kids, they want to open them up, but we put that fine in place. That worked out pretty well right off the bat. So that was good.
Parents are responding to paying for the yonder pouch that was destroyed, right?
Parents are coming in, and so we got a little creative. We're like, all right, well, if we found you broke one, that homeroom teacher will say, all right, you broke that pouch. They put their name in it, send it down to us. We call that student in. The next day, we hold their cell phone until their parent can come and pick it up. When their parent comes and pick it up, we say, hey, you owe $30. Now we're sending that money down through Central. But that was a nice little pickup that day one that really kind of moved that along, and parents were on board. I got to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know, nobody came here to complain or give you a hard time. I've been amazed, maybe, I don't know if I underestimate it, but the parent support is really good. It's really a big piece. I think we have a couple pieces, though, that we have to get better at, and we got to think about. We're going to have some field loss that we have to recover. We have to reorder more. Do we get each student a pouch? Like, those are some things, because parents are saying now, I want my student to have their own pouch, not a different one every day, right? And I'm willing to buy it. I'll buy it for $30. You know what I mean? So there's some things going on like that. We have a yonder sheet out for teachers to have conversation about it, to see what can we do better. Right now, the operation is set and it's working. I'm telling you, and then the benefit of it, and I know you'll see it academically, you'll see it some other ways. Kids are talking positively about it. The hallways are clear. The hallways at E-Hall Pass, combination of cell phone. We're moving towards making sure they have them in their lockers, like Fiona said, but not every kid is. So that's our next piece of that. But behavior is absolutely down to a very minimum. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's just first week of coming back, but 3 or 5 ODRs that first week, the entire week. So definitely a different feel. So a lot of positive things, but yet we want to focus on what can we get better? What are our shortfalls, or what's our snags that are going to kind of, can we sustain our operation over time? We counted 650 pouches in the office today, right before we came over. KJ knows now to get out there and count them all up. This is what we got. They're all functional. Next day, right? Come on, tomorrow, we'll hand out another 650, 700, whatever the case may be. But when we start losing 5, 10, 20, how do we replace? How do we do that? So a couple different questions there, but I mean, for some thought. All right.
Thank you. Mr. Riblet, how about middle school?
Successful launch and implementation. It's been a collaborative effort. I think communication was key for us, where, we exposed some of the students prior to the launch to the pouches. We had the grade level meetings, things like that, to make sure everybody's on the same page. So definitely collaborative effort, all adults in the building, faculty, staff, and students. We've had buy-in, like he said. So that significantly reduced the amount of negative behavior. And this implementation of the yonder pouches has resolved most, if not all, of the issues. And like I said, the amount of behaviors that have been reduced because of it has been significant. But we did change some things, our arrival procedure in the morning to help with the implementation and distribution of those cell phone pouches. We use our pouch, every student gets one, so they go to homeroom and it's, in a sense, their ticket to homeroom. So they don't get into their homeroom without their pouch. Once they get to their homeroom, they exchange that pouch for their Chromebook that they use for the day. That's the procedure that we're using. We've had no damaged pouches. The few issues that have come up, the parents have been positive in supporting us, that we've had to handle with that, but no damages, like I said. At the end of the day, very smooth. We have a team that visits every homeroom in the PM. We unlock and collect the pouches, take them down to the office, and we prep them for the next day. So very smooth, successful, very minimal issues that we've had to address. And in those situations, the parents have been very supportive working with us. So all well with the launch of Andre Trainers.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the members of the school board for these gentlemen?
My only most studies say that, of course, the use of cell phones hinder the growth of students academically. I think also importantly socially also too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. And those guys are talking in the hallways. It's funny because the cafeteria, we're a little bit worried about that, but they're talking. We thought maybe get some Uno games or something in there, even if, maybe get to the point of giving out some Chromebooks, but they're actually talking, hanging out at the tables, talking. You see people talking in the hallways, and they see on the cameras, kids walking around talking to each other. Nobody's looking at that. Nobody has that cell phone out. So it's really nice to see that. I mean, it's to your credit to support something like that, to push that thing forward, because other people are maybe balking at it a little bit, but there's still some things we got to figure out operationally and how can we sustain that, you know what I mean? But there's some tweaks to it. But
I'd like to thank you guys too much. It was a big undertaking. I know it wasn't easy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think a big piece that we're seeing is the students are buying in. And lunchtime, we have around 200 kids at lunch, give or take. We're to the point where we have to have microphones so they hear you, right? We're to the point now where we don't even really need that microphone anymore. They're having conversations with themselves. The hallways are good. We're able to chit chat and be there at lunch with the students. So it's changed a lot in a short amount of time.
And that implementation in middle school coming up, you're going to see that effect over the years. You really are. That's going to be a big thing. So, but proud of the kids for the compliance, proud of most of the families and the other ones that get on board. Sometimes it just took you to explain it to them and say, look, here's what we're doing. It's not, you're not going to change it. We want you to be here. We want you to be part of this thing. So, and people have come on board with it. So it's good stuff.
Truly, including faculty, staff, and students.
So I'm proud of the students. So I'm proud of you guys and the teachers also.
Great job, great teamwork.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Our next presentation is from our friends at Wessel and Company. We have our single audit reporting for the fiscal year that just ended on June 30th, 2024. So we have our good friend Joel, who we haven't seen for a while. Thanks for coming back, Joel. And Chad. Brennan, sorry, Brennan. And Brennan, who obviously I didn't know very well this evening, but now I do, so.
I think it's a good thing if you don't know the auditor.
Yeah, I like that twist, thank you. Gentlemen, thanks for coming.
Thank you, and I'm just gonna kick it off real quick, but thanks for having us, and it's great to see so many good things going on in the school district, and I was gonna comment if we could borrow some of those pouches for the office, I think that would be great. But overall, it's great to be here and great to see the district continue to thrive and do so well financially. Brendan Myers is gonna lead us through. He's the manager on the engagement. He was here day to day, working with Les and his team to get through everything. So Brendan's gonna take you through the highlights, and please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.
So in front of you, you see a big bound packet, and within that packet, there's like a PDF of a PowerPoint. That's what we're going to work off of. Our PowerPoint does not have cute pictures of penguins.
Fail.
Yeah, so we'll work off of that. So
We'll have to get you access to Canva.
So what we're going to do at a high level today is just go over our auditor's report, our financial statement highlights, the results of the single audit, our communication letter, and then if there's any other questions at the end, we can touch on those. So, so our independent auditor's report, we have to follow two different sets of standards. We have to follow generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. So that's how we performed and planned our audit. Our audit opinion, we issued an unmodified opinion, which is good. You don't want to see an adverse or any type of modification to the opinion. So this is a good, clean opinion. Also, the schedule of expenditure of federal awards was fairly presented in relation to the financial statements. And then we also issued two other reports. One is a yellow book report, and one is a single audit report. So we'll go over those kind of things at a high level. So for government, you have two types of, two classifications of fund. You have governmental funds and you have proprietary funds. So your governmental funds in this case are your general fund and your capital projects fund. Within these funds, you report things on a current resource focus. You don't report anything long-term. So if you want to think of these numbers here as net income for simplification, you can see from 2024 relative to 2023, you have an increase in your net income in those funds from the prior year. A lot of this relates to state grant activity in the general fund and the capital projects fund. On to your next fund. These are your proprietary funds. So in your case, it's the food service fund. So anything in these type of funds are, think of an exchange type of transaction. So your total net income in the food service fund was very comparable to prior year, coming in at about $920,000. Your fund balance, which is like the accumulated deficit or profit over the years for your governmental funds, is about $14 million for 2024, relative to about $11.2 million for 2023. So you're continuing to see an increase in your fund balance for your governmental funds. The proprietary funds or food service fund, that's increasing in the prior year as well. There are some restrictions in that food service fund of things that you can spend on. So although that fund balance looks great, you can't use that for whatever you want. There's restrictions on it, those dollars in that fund. Your government-wide performance. So when you think about governance, like I said, you have the proprietary funds and then you have the governmental funds. The governmental funds for short-term, the proprietary funds do include some long-term things. You put those two things together and then you make some long-term adjustments for things like fixed assets, pension, and OPEB and things like that to get a longer-term focus on what those things are. So your total change in your government-wide net position, you can see in 2024 was about $3.3 million, and for 2023 it was about $11.3 million. The substantial difference in that is about $7.9 million in total. That difference primarily relates to the ESSER funding. I think it's about 97% done at June 30, 2024. So that is the reason for that difference in those 2 years. On the next slide, I lost the government-wide net position there. So you would, okay, that one, sorry. So ideally, you want your net position to be positive. So you're still in a negative position government-wide, but you're trending in the right direction, decreasing that deficit over the prior year. Go to the next one. Yeah. So to your point of your general fund, to look at a breakout of your assets in that general fund, everything's relatively consistent with the prior year. You'll see from 23 to 24, the substantial change in that pie chart is for cash and investments. That's up in the prior year. And in the prior year, in the current year, you'll see that the receivables went down. So we converted those receivables to cash in 2024. This slide here shows your comparison of budget to actual. So that graph The bar graph, the blue on the left, that is your budget, and the black column is your actual. So your revenues came in a little bit higher, and your expenditures were like about even. So that's a positive graph there. Your sources of revenue for the current year, you can see 1321 and 68%. This is comparable to the prior year. Your biggest change is you have an increase in state sources and a decrease in federal sources, again, related to ESSER. The next slide there is just the comparison of the prior year. The next graph, if you want to look at, is the breakdown of your expenses by function. So your most significant change this year is your instruction is at about 61% of your total expenses relative to about 52% in the prior year. The only other notable changes is you had some other expenses that were about 15% last year and they're down to about 1% this year. Everything else is pretty in line with the prior year. This graph is probably one to consider as you're considering budgeting or so in the general fund of your total costs, about 52% of those costs related to personnel costs, so payroll benefits, fringe, pension, things like that. So 52% of that total is personnel related, and then the breakout of those personnel related items are salary, social security, retirement, and other employee costs. So if you get a chance to the next slide, this is comparing that to the prior year. Last year, about 50, more than half of that number was non-employee related costs. So you kind of flipped this year a little bit. This analysis here is your 5-year analysis of the revenue and expenditures at a government-wide level. So again, the government-wide level is considering all of those things like pension and fixed assets and different long-term things. So 2024, you're relatively level from a high-level standpoint. 2022 and 2023 were your ESSER years where you were incurring significant expenditures for like roofing and lighting and HVAC, and there was one other large project, but those were the 3 big ones in there. Your governmental funds, so this would be your capital projects and general fund. This is a nice representation of your build-up of your fund balance over the years. So you can see there that from 2015 to 2024, 2024 is your highest year, so that's continuing to trend in a positive direction. This, I think, is the most important graph to consider in looking at things long-term. So typically when you add fixed assets or assets to your organization, you finance those things with debt. So you can see back in like 2020, you were kind of in an inverse position. You had more debt than you had fixed assets. In 2022 and 2023, whenever you got the ESSER funding, you budgeted to spend a lot of those things on fixed assets. You were able to make substantial infrastructure improvements without incurring additional debt. So I think this is like the best thing to look at seeing long term, that you've made those improvements not having to incur debt, and those improvements are going to benefit you for years to come, or years to come. In terms of the single audit, your total federal expenditures for 2024 were a little over 12 million, and for 2023 they were at about 22 million. Again, ESSER funding declining as those COVID monies expire or dry up. For 2024, we had to test 3 major programs. So we tested the child nutrition cluster, the special education cluster, and the 21st century community learning, which is the after-school program. So that put us at about 33% of coverage, about $4 million of federal funding. Within our reports, within our Yellow Book report, we had we had 2 findings in the current year. We had a finding for material journal entries and financial statement preparation. These are common findings for governments with small staff. And under our standards, we have to make substantial journal entries to get this packet to be completion, and we have to disclose those things in order to help prepare that. Those are findings that we have to issue, so they're common findings for governments with small staff. And then the next slide there, within your packets, we're not going to go over it, but if you want to look at it at any point you can, there's a loose letter that says communication to the charge of governance. This is a standard letter that's required by us as auditors to issue to you as the board. And this just outlines our responsibility as auditors. We've met those responsibilities. It talks about significant or unusual transactions if there were any, which there were not. It talks about significant estimates or estimations, and any of these other highlighted or high-level items here. So that was a relatively clean and standard letter that we issued this year. And then the only other thing that is pending is the single audit report gets uploaded to the federal audit clearing house. So this went up today, and it just needs to be certified on our end. We wanted to wait till we present it, and then once that's certified on our end, Les will go and certify, and we can be in touch on how to do that.
Sounds good.
So within the next day or two, that will be submitted to the federal audit clearing house, and then it will just get accepted from that point. And then that is it. Does anyone have any questions or?
I mean, everything looks good. So what's our grade?
I think compared to where you were 7-8 years ago, you're at like a high B. So you were like at a D before, yeah. So you're doing really well. All schools are challenged with the cost of the pension cost. I mean, that's one of your biggest expenses. It just continues to rise. But overall, your fund reserves are really strong. So you guys have done a great job. Using that extra funding to, as Brendan pointed out, to get the facilities in order was a really good move, and not issuing debt to get the facilities back to where they needed to get, help level balance the district.
Any other small items of concern?
There was a couple operational items that we went over with Les and with Al, and nothing was substantial that we felt we needed them to attention for.
Do you have any recommendations for the board of directors moving forward? Things that they should consider?
I think the big thing is just to continue to keep that fund balance sort of where it's at. You got it back to a good spot. At one point, you were probably 30 million, and then it spent down, and you saw that low point at like 5 million. And 5 million is not, that sounds like a lot, but that's not a good spot when you aren't getting tax dollars in at the start of the year, state money's not coming in, you're looking at tax anticipation loans, things like that. So you kind of want to keep that fund balance at that spot. So as long as you can kind of hold on to that, you don't necessarily need to budget profits, but you don't want to budget deficits. So just keep the trend there. So, and we'll continue to work with Les on just making sure, like the financials and the internal bookkeeping's in good order. We have a good relationship that he can reach out to us and any questions or any needs that he may have as well. So
Sure. Are you able to recommend if we should use some of our fund balance to make investments into CDs and things like that? Would that be a good strategy?
for sure, yeah, you want to
forward?
get those in the interest-bearing accounts. Right? I think some of them are in.
There's some balance in investments that we have to.
But yeah, you're getting good rates there. So as long as you can get any extra cash, put it in.
Okay.
And, you probably want to keep 3 or 4 million outside just for the general operations, but you can and you probably work with Playget or something similar that offers a good rate too. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Each last stand for the rest of the meeting?
Do you need us to?
Oh, you sure have. All right, before you get too comfortable, we have one more presentation.
Oh, okay.
Les Paul is
Can you
going
click my
to
button?
present.
Can you click my button?
Sure, sir.
Can you click it?
You gonna send me a bill?
Yes, sir.
The Act One
Oh,
index, so that's our final presentation. So don't get too comfortable or going outside of the room, don't be there too far, promise you.
I'll keep things kind of short and sweet, but I think Debbie said she's gonna start the time wrong.
So, 3 minutes.
But I just have to start with a thank you to the board and everybody for supporting me in my new role as business manager. I started 2 days before the fiscal year ended, and I can't recall a time you guys didn't give me the support or resources I needed. And when you guys read through the recommendations for us as a team here at Johnstown, those wheels are already moving. I already have one meeting scheduled with Mike, who's one of the shareholders of Russell. And we have a meeting next week to already get a jump on items for next year. Because whenever I get told that, hey, we need to work on something, especially in my professional development, I take those like very, very seriously. Because I want to ensure that our district and our community is safe for a very long time. But needless to say, for anyone watching the owl that doesn't know me, my name is Les Paul Butchko. I am the business manager here at Johnstown. And today we are going to learn about Act 1. So Act 1 was created in 2006. It's for taxpayer relief. It was passed by the state of Pennsylvania to limit the amount by which school districts can raise property taxes each year. It ensures that the taxes do not rise more than the set amount, keep increases predictable and affordable for everybody. Every year, the state calculates the index, which is the maximum, like I said, that a district can raise taxes. And this has different factors in it, like inflation, our local economy, which helps that any tax increases are being used in a proper manner. Now, there are limits to it. So if a district faces extraordinary financial situations such as rising charter school costs, a significant drop in state funding, or an emergency, the district can apply to exceed that limit. These expectations require approval from the state and local vendors through referendum. The state sets the index annually by using data from the Department of Ed. It is typically based on factors such as the Pennsylvania average weekly wage or the inflation rate. For example, the index for the year is 3%. This means the school district can increase taxes by up to 3% and exceed what you can match. And those need to go through a whole approval process. And I believe last year, Commonwealth-wide, there were 6 schools that got approval to go on the index. So, like I said, Act 1 is for taxpayer protection, but it also gives our district flexibility in different emergencies or something would come up. I don't know when something would happen. We can adjust our local taxes to help support the district to keep us functioning. Debbie, I'm almost through it. We're almost done. Much time left.
Am I supposed to be moving something?
Not yet.
All right. All right, that's
You
just,
got a big job over there, Ron.
I do what's needed.
But you look good.
That's right.
In the corner.
So our current situation, the state has set our index at 6.3%, which, like I said, means that we can raise up to 6.3% exactly without going over. So what does this mean for the community? By following the Act 1, we ensure that any increases up to that 6.3% are manageable. So the state says this is manageable for our community, and we will follow those standards. You press my button. That did not transpose well. Okay. So this process of calculating is very, very simple. But first time business manager, I would reach out to the mentors to help coach me through this. But our index is 6.3%, so you move your decimal point 2 places and you get an index of 0.063. You multiply that by your previous year millage, which was 48.62, and you get an allowable increase in millage of 3.317265. So it brings our new mill rate if you were to meet that index. I'm not saying Butchko is raising taxes over here. So, but if you were, the max millage you can reach is 51.68306. As compared to the previous year's revenue, which we have about 86% successful collection rate, if you were to go to the maximum index, you would hope to receive an extra $658,000. So I took some data from our Homestead Act because that's what our most recent information from the county says. But before I move forward, I just wanted to make a disclaimer that we have to differentiate between, man, my house is worth $200,000, but the county doesn't see it that way. So Cambridge County, on average, our last assessment was about 75 years ago. So unless you build a house in the last 20 years, your assessment value is a lot lower than the market value. Not saying you can't sell your house, or sell your house as much as you can. But you need to look at the tax statement to see what is my property assessed at. If you have questions, please call the Cameron County Courthouse. They can get you that information. But the average household in Johnstown is $11,120. And that chart there illustrates a max increase of 6.3%, bringing your mills to 51.68, or the investment place 0.05168. Everyone's worried about the impact on our community, just like I am. I'm a Johnstown graduate, Johnstown native, and I'm always concerned about our residents in our community. If you have a $50,000 house, your taxes could possibly go up $153.15, bringing it to about $12 a month. That's a bad day at Burger King right now. So we have to put in perspective what these mills mean for our constituents. Based on this again, about $658,000 in hopeful revenue from our local community. Good one. I like to give you guys options, and we could talk about mills all day and punch different numbers in, but I figured the easiest thing to do is just bust it in half. So if you were to raise the mills by 1.5 instead of the previous demonstration, our millage rate would be 0.05012. And obviously we cut our index in half, so we'd expect the cost to be half for our taxpayers. So you can see, even on a $200,000 assessed property, you can expect a monthly impact of $25, about a third of a tank of gas. And you could still expect to receive $472,000 in possible income. So I'd like to just conclude with, does anyone have any questions for me in regards to the presentation and in regards to millage? Because I know we're going to have some long discussions, especially since this is the start of our budgeting process.
I don't have any questions now, but I think that should be discussed another time.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you all for your support. I rely heavily on you guys every day. And here's a great rest of the school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job, Attorney Repack.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
How's your fingers?
I think you might have missed your call.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
There's a bigger bill now.
Just don't yell and scream. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for our presentations. School board members, thank you so very much for your patience, and I know it went a little long, but thank you. You're welcome.
We have no hearing of citizens. We don't need any time for another executive session. I need a motion to approve the minutes for the regular board meeting of December 3rd. Motion by Michael, second by Bruce. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. My report is, we had two devastating things that happened in our country. First, North Carolina. I think there's still people there that don't have anything that's going to go. They're freezing, and this massive fire in California. And I wanted to, when we say the opening prayer of the Our Father, I just like for people now, I would appreciate if you said an Our Father to yourself in a moment of silence for these people, because I don't know what you do. I mean, you got nothing. I mean, their house looks like a tummy bomb. And that's just my report. So I'll just say a quick Our Father myself, and we'll go to the next. I thank you. You go to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Pence. So first and foremost, I want to take a moment to recognize our school board of directors as January School Board Recognition Month. And we have some wonderful plaques for you that really honor you and the work that you do as a school board member. So I'll just ask you to pass those around to the people. I want to just take a moment to tell you a couple facts about school board directors across the Commonwealth. There are 4,500 school directors that serve Pennsylvania's 500 public schools, and all boards have 9 members. All school board members serve as volunteers without any pay or compensation. So when I think about if we would have to pay you for the work that you do, last we would have to create a whole new funding stream because of the amount of time and commitment that each and every one of you give to the district. School directors are key decision makers on issues such as school safety and security. And I know that's huge here for each and every one of you. Budgeting, school board policy, hiring, and curriculum. 60% of all districts involve students at their local board meetings. And so I end with that one because I had the pleasure of meeting with a group of our students at the high school who call themselves Agents of Change. You approved their group at the last board meeting, and I thought, I need to get around these kiddos and find out more about what they're up to. So we had lunch together last week, and a wonderful group of young ladies were there, although there are some gentlemen in the group as well. And we talked about their mission, their initiative, and what they hope to bring to the school district. And one of the things that we talked about is how sometimes decisions are made at the school board meeting and they are not aware of them. And so I suggested to them that you can change that. As part of your group, Agents of Change, school board meetings are open to everyone. And that includes you as our students, and you have every opportunity to come and join us at any time. And so they thought that might be a really nice idea. So I started to think a little bit about, we had Fiona here this evening, but of course, as all of our JHS representatives do, they present and then they leave. And so when I talked to the students in the Agents of Change group, they said, well, could we to the students at Johnstown High School any decisions that are impacting us at the school level. And we are aware that I think, and they didn't say this, but I'm a pretty good guesser. I think one of the things they were thinking about is that we made some decisions on yonder vouchers without student input. So I said to them, please feel free to come to the meeting. And they asked if the board would consider, and I'm asking for them, if they would consider having a student representative as a liaison who would work between the school board of directors and the students at Johnstown High School. So I've done my job by bringing this to your attention. I mean, I thought, they came upon this in a good way, bringing it to me first to then bring to you. So I'll leave you with this, and we can talk about this further after you've had some time to think about it and what you'd like to do. But I thought it was interesting that 60% of all districts involve students at their local board meetings. And we do that to a degree, but we don't keep them around for, further discussion or to just be note takers, like we have some other members in the audience to information back. So I wanted to bring that to your attention this evening. The second thing, last evening at dismissal, we as a school district had to deal with a horrible accident in which one of our school buses was was struck by an oncoming vehicle. Now, that phone call is probably one of the worst phone calls you receive as a superintendent, because you don't know what you will find when you get to the accident. You don't know the shape of the individuals. I hear kind of, as quickly as people can report if there are any, big injuries on the scene. But you never know if kids are traumatized. And of course, our littles, our elementary students, to undergo something like that is just, it's horrific for them. So, everybody did such a phenomenal job at that scene yesterday, from McElwain's, who immediately sent us another bus so that we could get those students off that bus onto a new bus. We brought those students to the elementary school, and that was the recommendation of EMS, where they would assess those students. Those were the folks from West End Ambulance. So I just really want to make sure that, I give a shout out and make you aware of so many people behind the scenes who took care of our students in their time of need. The administration at the elementary school jumped in and stayed. Becky Stavanis, who is the secretary at Johnstown Elementary School, she had no obligation to remain and assist with phone calls and answering the phones and getting information out to families. So incredibly proud of her commitment and her passion to our students. Of course, our first responders, everybody showed up to help us in our time of need. And, there was a teacher there before I was there. She was heading home, heading down Monaco, and saw a Johnstown bus in this, and she parked and went to the scene to support our students. That was Crystal Fetzer, a wonderful teacher at Johnstown Elementary School, and Hannah Sembauer. I'd like to recognize both of them because they stayed with us throughout. And then Crystal, she called on Julie Kornowski, one of her friends, to come up to the elementary school to help us. And those teachers didn't even hesitate. They stayed throughout the evening until parents could pick those students up. And we did have to send 4 students home on a McElwain bus because parents didn't have rides up to the school. But there were no student injuries. Our bus driver did sustain some injuries, but she was at work today. So, just amazing. You think she might have wanted to take at least one day to just kind of, decompress from such an event, but she didn't. She showed up. Her name is Colleen Moore, and there are many drivers just like her. So, we're just incredibly grateful for those individuals. Officer Plunkard, he was dispatched by Mr. Dady. He came to the scene. He stayed with us through the evening. So we really just have great individuals that jump in and do what they need to do in time of need. One thing, we like to do is reflect on how is the situation handled. Could we have done something better or differently? And, I do a lot of reflection because I want to be the best that I can be for our students and our staff as our school superintendent. One thing that we did not do yesterday is we did not take time to alert a bus that was caught in the traffic jam. We did not take time to alert the parents of the students on a bus who was caught in the traffic jam because of the bus accident, because we were so focused on the students on the bus in the accident that we didn't think these students are just sitting there going to be very, late getting home. We should have done a school messenger call to those families. So when we go back to our processes, that is something that we'll want to make sure, beyond the scope of the accident, what other students are being impacted by that. And that is something in hindsight I wish we would have done. But this is what we do. We reflect what we do and work together to make our processes that much better. So thanks to everyone who did a fantastic job yesterday afternoon and evening, just sticking around and helping us out. The next thing I want to bring to your attention is, again, this year, we will partner with the Johnstown Symphony Orchestra. They will be performing on January 20th at Johnstown High School, a full celebration of Martin Luther King Day. And that's always a wonderful event. Tickets are for sale on the JSD website, and they just really do a nice program. And we're always happy to open Cochran Auditorium because that is really the best place to hear music, probably in the state. We have one of the best facilities. So the next thing we are working on is a career fair for our youngest students. We focus on the older students about career fairs, and we started to talk about what about the littles? What about the young kids who maybe we could pique their interest in different fields while they're little, so that they know what is necessary to get to that career. So we are partnering with CareerLink, JARI, Vision 2025, obviously Johnstown Elementary School, our preschool folks who were here earlier this evening to present the portraits. And we are going to have a career fair that's focused on the three careers that are up and coming in this community. And that is, we obviously education is one of them, but our kids know about education, right? They're with us every day. But manufacturing is one that we're going to focus on. Health care, health related jobs, nursing, doctors, those kind of things. And then the third are first responders, police and firemen. So those careers are going to be focused. All of our students at the elementary school are going to have an opportunity to visit the career fair on that day. And we are also going to bus our preschool students up. Johnstown Library will be there. They have costumes. So our Interact kids are already agreeing to dress up in those costumes, read stories to the children that are in line with the jobs and the careers that they will get to explore on that day. And then we have a conversation to have something very similar for our middle school students in May this year. So we've traditionally, historically held a career fair at Johnstown High School, but we think we need to get our younger students involved in thinking about careers. It's not too early, because sometimes what we find at the high school is students are juniors and they say, oh, I'd like to be a nurse. Well, you didn't take the math you needed to take the past 2 years, so that might not be a reachable goal for you. We need to make sure we have our students in line to reach their fullest potential. So excited about that on February 20th. And then tonight, you will approve the contract with Care Solace. Care Solace is a wonderful organization that is able to connect our families and students with mental health supports that they need and can access in the community, both face-to-face and also through telehealth. And the great thing that I'm so proud of about Care Solace that the board is approving tonight is that Care Solace also offers their services to our entire district. So that's all of our teachers, administrators, staff. So let's say at some point one of our teachers had a family member that was in need of additional support. They have access to this service as well. Historically, we approve services for students and families, but this is a new approach where we are also approving services for our folks who work for us, because we know that we have to take very good care of them if we want them to stay around and feel like they're cared for. So Care Solace will do that for them. So some good stuff coming up, Mr. Pence. Very proud of a lot of good news to share. Thank you for your time, everyone. You're welcome.
Dr. Curie, I'd like to extend the prayers out to the other people that were in the crash yesterday also.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. There were 2 individuals in a car, and they were elderly individuals, and so they were transported to the hospital as well. And yeah, their prayers definitely necessary for those. Thank you for that. I definitely appreciate that. Good stuff. That's it, Mr. Pence. Thank you.
Board Secretary report.
Thank you, Mr. Pence. And the following executive sessions were held December the 16th from 3 to 6:12 p.m. personnel matters relative to 6 Act 93 employees, a contracted employee, a support staff employee, and an athletic department employee. Student matters, administrative compensation plan, and legal update regarding booster groups. 2 executive sessions were held prior to this meeting, the first being 3 o'clock to 3:55 p.m. Personnel matters regarding 3 Act 93 employees, 5 professional employees, a past employee, legal update regarding booster groups, a student matter. And then the second one was held from 4:15 to 5:05 p.m. An athletic department employee, safety and security matters, candidates for the positions listed on the agenda, an Act 93 employee, a past employee, and a contracted employee, and contractual matter regarding the Garfield building. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Debbie. Ron, solicitor's report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just an update that they did increase for procurement purposes, 2.4% increase. So between 12.9 and 23.8 is the new threshold for telephonic quotes. And then anything above 23.8, you need to get a bid. But anything below that 12,900 is now you're able to contract without going through the telephonic process or bidding requirements. And then another update is that a federal judge did strike down the new Title IX requirements that were updated by the Biden administration. So we're going to have to work with our local school districts. We had trainings in the summer. We had had everyone trained before July 1 to implement it. Those go away. So we're going to be working with the local districts to try to revamp and go back to what it was originally. And I'm sure something else will come out on it. So I did want to update that as it just happened, I think, yesterday or even this morning at this point in time. That's all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. The reports of the resolutions, the standing committee, Kimberly for the personnel and negotiation committee.
PN 161, 162, and 163.25.
I need a motion. Motion, Michael, second by Bruce. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
PN 164.25 I'm not going to address, or table, sorry.
Need a motion for that?
Motion.
Motion Randy, second Tony. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
PN 165.25 that Alyssa Myers be appointed to the position of special education, learning support, emotional support, autistic support teacher at Johnstown High School with all contingencies as listed at instrumental 1, level 3, 49,000 prorated.
Motion? Motion. Second by Bruce. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
PN 166 and 167.25.
Motion. Motion. Tony, second. Second. Randy, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
PN 168.25 that Anthony Penna Jr. be appointed to the supplemental athletic position of head varsity coach with all contingencies as listed for 3 years.
Motion. Motion. Tony, second by Michael. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
PN 169.25 that the following individuals will be appointed to the supplemental positions with all contingencies as listed. Baseball JV head coach is Daniel M. Myers. Okay. And then volleyball JV head coach, Adriana Hassett.
Motion? Motion. By Tony, second Michael. Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Belsky,
Yes.
Mr. Jordan,
Yes.
Mrs. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Pence,
Abstain.
Mr. Rosner.
Yes.
Ms. Foggy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
PN 170.25 that the supplemental fall sports positions be declared open for the assistant football coaches and the administration be authorized to announce and if necessary advertise.
Motion. Motion. Bruce, second. Tony, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
PN 171.25.
Motion. Motion. Michael, second. Tony, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
PN 172.25 are going to table.
Motion.
Motion.
Bruce, second by Michael. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
PN 173 through 179.25.
Motion
Motion.
by Tony, second.
Second.
Michael, any questions? All in favor? Opposed, motion passed.
PN 180.25, that the resignation of Dorothy Rozier, paraprofessional, special education, regular education, personal care assistant at Johnstown Middle School be accepted effective the end of the workday on January 24th, 2025, and the administration be authorized to announce the vacancy.
Motion.
Motion by Randy, second by Tony, any questions? All in favor? Opposed, motion passed.
PN 181.25, that the supplemental position of junior high assistant track coach be declared vacant due to Kalana's mother's declining the offer of employment, and the administration be authorized to announce/advertise the vacancy.
Motion.
Motion Randy, second by Tony, any questions? All in favor? Opposed, motion passed.
Before we move on to athletics and student activities committee, I don't know if we'll have the opportunity to do this at an upcoming meeting, but I'd just like to recognize Mr. Kashadi and his retirement from the school district that you just approved. Mr. Kashadi, thank you so much for all of your years of service, and especially for taking on a leadership role when maybe that wasn't what you had originally thought would be in the cards for you, but when you were asked to step up and provide leadership to the school district, you did so in grand fashion. A lot of really good things occurred under your leadership at Johnstown High School, and we'd like to take a moment publicly to thank you for that. The other thing I always hear is that if you've left something better than you found it, then you've done a great job. And I know, sir, you can definitely look back on your years in the district and everything that you had your hands in, and implementing change and policy and procedures. It is things that you have done are much better. So how many years of service do you have?
28 with the Greater Johnstown School District, was 31 overall. But thank you for the opportunity, and the support. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity, and certainly it's been a pleasure. I love it every day. So.
Yeah. We're very sad to see you go, but always know that we need substitute teachers every day of our school district. So after you retire, if you find yourself with time on your hand, we'd be honored to have you back in any role that you're willing to fill for us, and welcome you back with open arms. So on behalf of myself, the administrative team, and the entire school board, thank you. Thank you for all of your service.
It's always proud to know you have a guy like this.
Bill, I'd like to thank you for your leadership, and more importantly, you're just a hell of a guy. You're a good man. Good man. Yeah. Good man.
And you are emphatically welcome back to the Veterans
That's right. That's right. Thank you for that, Mr.
Well, we'll
Penn.
be seeing you again, because when you, at the end, do they get a towel or something?
He gets something. Yeah. I had Jeff or something.
We go to athletics, AS 25 to AS 27-25. I need a motion. I need a motion by Bruce and a second by Kimberly. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Michael Allen for budget.
BF 3125, BF 3725.
Need a roll call.
We need a roll call.
On the first one.
On 31.
Well, you can do the whole thing and you'll do a roll call now. Go ahead.
Roll call.
I'm trying to slam dunk here. Go ahead.
BF 3125.
A motion.
Motion.
By Kimberly, second by Bruce. Any questions? Oh, roll call.
Mr. Belsky,
Yes.
Mr. Jordan,
Yes.
Mrs. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Pence,
Yes.
Mr. Rumsford,
Abstain, family.
Ms. Foggy,
Yes.
and Mr. Allen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
BF 3225 to BF 3725?
No.
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 We gotta go to 34.25. No,
Yeah.
33. No,
32 and
We need a roll
33.
call on 34 times.
Yeah.
32 and 33.
BF 32 and BF 33?
Motion,
Motion.
Kim, second.
Second.
Tony, any questions? All in favor? Motion passed.
BF 3325 to BF 3725?
34.25.
We need a roll call on
Need a roll call. We need a motion?
Motion.
Motion by, Bruce, second by Kim. Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Jordan,
Yes.
Mrs. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Pence,
Yes.
Mr. Rumsberg,
Staying family?
Ms. Foggy,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
and Mr. Belsky.
Yes.
Motion passes.
BF 35,
Well, BF
35, 36, 37.
BF 35 to BF 37?
Motion?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Bruce, second by Kim. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Are we sure now?
Uh,
BO 2325 through BO 2625.
Motion?
Motion.
Bruce, second by Michael. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Well, Ed's not here, Tom's not here, so cafeteria. C 925 to C 1025. Motion by
Motion.
Kimberly, second Tony. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Tony for education.
E 71-25 through E 80-25.
Yeah. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Yeah, Kimberly, second by Michael. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Motion for adjournment. Motion by Michael, second by Bruce. Any questions? All in favor?
Hey, Ron. Ron, I got the same version. When I was saying, just right, look at the set I.
That's not what you're typically doing.
That's not what we do.
But you could have done that. It's like, legally speaking, you're correct. That's all I wanted.
That's all I. Mike, you didn't reach your sheet.